Metaconscious therapeutic design, Fulfulness. So Carmen, tell me what that actually means and what that actually is. It's quite wordy, so I'd be curious to know what you mean by that. Metaconscious therapeutic design.
Ivan, you're correct. It is wordy, but we need all of these words to understand that this is a system. And when we talk about meta-conscious, involves a, a system that other system can sit on top of it. Okay? Think of it as if you are to think of your phone, smartphone.
Mhm.
A smartphone has an operating system, whether it's Android or iOS, right?
Mhm.
So on that operating system, you have so many different apps that sit on it.
Right.
Or you have a desktop or a laptop, and you have an operating system, Windows or Apple or Chrome, Android.
Mhm.
So on that system, you have different apps that sit on that because of the system, then you can utilize other mini systems in within that. So this is where meta-conscious comes in the picture. This is how meta-conscious plays, right? And it is designed, but is designed for therapeutic purposes,
Right.
right? So, and it involves several components.
Mhm.
So, as though it sounds wordy, it actually begins to be very simple and it is very, very enjoyable.
That's very well explained. And the Fulfulness, what does the Fulfulness mean to you, or what do you want it to mean to others?
Fearfulness is a term that I coined
Hmm.
long ago with mindfulness. Many, many years ago, I would listen to these mindfulness gurus, very popular people. A lot of students would go and pay a lot of money to go study with these people. And all they would say is, you have to feel the feeling, you have to feel the feeling. And I agreed with them for the longest time. I agreed, yeah, yeah, you have to feel the feeling. Up until I realized that, wait a second, I already know how to feel the feeling. There is a process. There is a process you go through to feel the feeling. It doesn't just fall from the sky. I mean, we feel the feelings, but we're not conscious of it. But in the context to which this mindfulness guru would say you have to feel the feeling to make this happen, or other context, to some point, my knowledge got insulted because they kept saying you have to feel the feeling, but no, none of them said how.
Mhm.
Not even an inch of try this or try that and maybe think of it and as if, right? None of that. They just said feel the feeling. So I already had the feeling. I already had the system, the process to which you feel a feeling by choice. Intentionally, you choose what feeling to feel, and then you feel it. All right.
So how do you use this in your sort of day-to-day practice?
Um, easily, and it's enjoyable.
Mhm.
So to answer the question, we get to the end of the process to which you choose a feeling, you feel it, then you generate a state of being that becomes part of your identity in that moment, and you become that state of being. You embody it, right? But then, as a therapeutic mastery, after you learn this skill but there are other steps up until you choose what to feel in that state of being that you want to generate. There's several feelings involved, weaved into that state of being. So once you learn how to do this, and you have to practice, yeah, you get to the extraordinary ability to transfer therapeutic consciousness. Now, that is a big deal.
Mm.
What does it mean?
What does it mean? Is
Yeah,
it neuroscience based?
it is. But
Mm-hmm.
let me, I'm going to come back to neuroscience. But to transfer therapeutic consciousness, it means you generate a state of being to what your client needs,
Mm.
right? So if your client needs to feel purposeful, how gonna feel that, right? So there are elements in generating that, and then intentionally, and there is training involved. Intentionally, you transfer as if you give that to the client, but you don't push it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this is plain neuroscience. This happens all the time throughout the day. We transfer consciousness between each other, but we're not aware. And this is where we hurt each other, and this is where we we're happy together. This is where we enjoy people, and this is where we want to stay away from people, because there is a transfer of consciousness. So us as a therapist, we need to transfer therapeutic consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
not just haphazard.
Mm-hmm.
Just be whatever the wind takes you to be that day. And neuroscience explains this very well. The mirror neurons. It's just mirror neurons. It's the client's brain begins to entrain through the process of mirror neurons through your state of being.
So is that sort of picked up through energy, or how do they
Yes,
interact?
energy, yes, and it's a good
Mm-hmm.
word to use. But besides energy, a lot of people don't understand energy, and a lot of people think that energy means so many different things. But in this particular context, transferring therapeutic consciousness, you become what you generate the state of being that the client needs. Neuroscience demonstrates to us that it's not just foo-foo, woo-woo, energy kind of metaphysical stuff. It's not just that. Plain neuroscience, mirror system, the client brain begins to be entrained. And what do you mean by that? What do I mean by that? Well, this is when you enjoy people, you talk to, you're around to. This is what happens. Yeah, but this happens is the mirror system, right? But there is no conscious transfer of consciousness, right? Unless somebody intentionally wants to hurt you or put you down. Let's say they better. When they have that intention, they are transferring intentional consciousness, but not for therapeutic purposes.
So does this work with everyone, or is it something you have to be on the same wavelength as someone else to happen?
That's a good question.
Mm.
You become the wavelength the client needs, right? And when you don't work with the clients, once you learn how to generate this, there is a process, and there is a little bit of work involved, but I'm telling you, it's so pleasant. It's worthy right now, but all of the work is very, very pleasant. You become the wavelength that the client needs, but also when you are in a group of people, when you have an audience, you're a family, you feel something is not right,
Mm.
that you generate the wavelength that's needed in the situation. Maybe a little more joy, right? Maybe a little more calm, maybe a little more guidance. Whatever in the situation is needed, you generate that within you, and then everything entrains.
Mm-hmm.
This
So
is this is phenomenal.
it is phenomenal. So you can generate a state, and you can exude that state, and then someone else will pick up on that.
Correct.
Almost by magic, but of course it's not magic, is it? It's
It is.
transference of energy.
Yeah, it's almost like magic, but it is very intentional.
Mm.
And another way to pour it, a good metaphor for it, is think of it as a perfume.
Mm-hmm.
You wear a nice perfume, other people enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But the perfume that you wear, it makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. So what would happen in a situation where somebody was, somebody wasn't sort of responding to the energy
Oh, they do respond.
that everybody responds?
Everybody responds.
Let me rephrase that. If someone responds negatively to it,
Well, their shadow work, you just trigger something in that moment. Maybe in that moment they need to go through something negative. Maybe
mm-hmm.
they need to go to feeling unpleasant, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You let them be. In that moment, you generate another wavelength, you generate another state of being.
Mm-hmm.
You just shift
Mm-hmm.
your state, and then it will make the other comfortable. But also, you make it pleasant for you too,
Mm-hmm.
because it is such a mastery to be able to do something like that. And it doesn't matter what you feel, because you're probably going to feel insulted to some degree. It's like, oh, what did I do? I just being nice to you. What's the matter with you? You kind of have those thoughts in the back of your head. But then this happens like fractions of a just couple of nanoseconds. But then it's like, oh, this is what I can do. And you will see the shift in
Mm-hmm.
them. Yeah.
Very interesting. And so is this something you do every single day with clients?
Yes, I do, and I do this with people. I
Mm-hmm.
just when I go shopping, I do this just and I see people's reaction. Uh, there's always a smile on my face, right? I put a smile on a face because you don't smile all the time. This gets tired. But I wear a smile on my face. There is a smile in the voice as well, and then you say something nice about them. You
Right.
make compliments without getting into their appearance or who they are. For example, oh, you look good. No, you don't say that. All you say is like, oh, that color looks good on you, right? Or you say, how's your day going? Sometimes people do answer that question. They give you a phrase or two, and you hear that, and they feel heard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's a big deal. Or in a conversation, you find something, you say, "Oh yeah, that's right." Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
There's so much, isn't there, to this? There's so much that people can pick up on, and so much we don't understand about people, and how people react to these situations. So you're using this everywhere, even when you go to the shops, even when you go to the gas station, you're using this.
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
I have a neighbor that uses a cane. When I met this neighbor a few years ago, he wasn't using a cane. But long story short, now he's using a cane to walk. So when I see him walk, I said, "Oh, you're doing good. Look at you, how good you're doing. Keep doing it." I said, "Well, don't use the cane all the time. Try walking without it. Have it next to you, in front of you, and you only touch it when you think you lose your balance." And he's doing it. And then I say, "Oh, look how good you're doing. Wow, look at that."
Mm.
Uh-huh.
So really, this is a natural state.
It becomes, I like this observation. Yes, it becomes a natural state.
Mm.
So when you begin to generate these states of being, and then when you're with others, you uplift others, you generate this therapeutic consciousness. Um, After a while, it becomes natural. It becomes natural. Now, don't get me wrong, there are moments in a day when you get frustrated, especially with technology. I get frustrated with technology a lot, every day, right?
Mm.
But it becomes a second nature.
Mm.
And this is where you want to be. This is what everybody wants to be. Everybody wants to feel good.
Yes. So so we can all feel happier. And in life there's positivity, there's negativity, and people tend to project what they're feeling and what they are.
Mhm.
And so if you can tune into this state, then we can all live happier and have more joy inside. Because I don't know what you think, but is it a choice? Do you think it's a choice?
We can choose to shift into joyful. Yes. Yeah. The simplest thing to do that is squeeze your cheeks.
That's
It's
it.
neuroscience. Your body, your brain will adjust to it. You just squeeze your cheeks, and it's like, oh, that's a lot of fun. I don't feel like laughing, but I squeeze my cheek. I'm a little silly. Creates a little bit of joy.
And of course, being in the present moment, that's a big part of it as well, isn't it?
Oh, a lot. And this just takes you. Well, we begin with metacognition, and metacognition um, teaches you how to observe nuances and small little things that are important in that moment, that are important to the state of being you want to generate, that are important to whomever is in front of you, right? So details are important, but also the way you subconsciously choose to process those details is a big deal,
Mm.
because a lot of details turn into triggers. And I have plenty of clients I work with that triggered. I say, well, you don't have to be triggered. Why are you triggered? So I'm confusing them a little bit. I say, well, why are you triggered? Right. So let's flip it, right? So it's becoming aware, becoming conscious of what triggers you. But I want to point out that constantly being positive, it can turn into toxic positivity.
Mm.
Sometimes people need to feel what they feel. Sometimes people are grieving.
Mm.
Sometimes people have bad news. Sometimes they're going through health challenges. Sometimes their car issues, their weather issues, they have issues with their boss, with their family issues. So let them be where they're at. We don't always have to push the uplifting in them.
So it's not just about the present moment, it's about authenticity, isn't it?
Uh,
Just being who you are and
you become authentic in
yeah,
this,
right.
because through the metacognitive design, you begin to learn and you begin to see so clearly elements that are not part of your authentic self, that are not actually part of your identity, although you embedded them in your identity, in your authentic self. But then you realize, hey, that's not who I am. It's just something, it's a reaction I have. So how about I respond instead of react?
So what about people who've had, very challenging lives, very challenging upbringings, challenging situations, and maybe perhaps they find it very difficult to tune into this and to feel this.
That's a good question. So every client I work with, I then they present difficulties and challenges. That's why they come to us. They have challenges, difficulties, and they want to make it better. They want to feel better. So as long as somebody wants to make something better,
Mm.
then sky is the limit. All right. So at the beginning, of course, we address the issue. We get more insight into how that happens, when that happens, what are the triggers, what are the within the context, and what's in that soup of life. How many ingredients do we have in that soup of difficulties, the soup of hurt and heartache?
Mm.
And through that, I begin to identify the core elements in their identity. Something or someone made them feel small,
Mm.
insignificant. They weren't heard, they weren't acknowledged. this is where a lot of issues arise from. It's not just okay, I'm not going to go that route. So let me just stay with this route. So once you identify where they've been made feel small, or were ignored, or were put down, or where they traumatized. Not all trauma is the same. So once this is identified, then you begin to work with the part of their identity that was fragmented by that particular element. It's not just symptom removal, it's not just coping. Oh, this is why you do, and read this spreadsheet and go through this cognition. Cognitive processes, they take you so far. But if you go metaconscious and you begin to work with your clients in a metaconscious, and metaconscious, immediately you teach your clients how to feel differently. Well, it's going to take a while to register for them, but there's where we have repetition. Repetition is the mother of mastery.
So we can reinvent ourselves with new identities. In other words, the person we've been in the past, we no longer have to be.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Isn't that reassuring for people to know that you don't have to be the person you were? You don't have to be the person that you've become, but you can become the person that you want to be through changing your identity and through learning these new experiences through this metaconscious therapy.
Yes, yeah, and this is phenomenal, and this is the main reason people go into personal development, or they go to therapy, or they go to coaching, because they want something different. But identity is a complex mechanism. It's dynamic. It's not fixed. Yeah, your physical body is fixed. Yeah, your driver's license, your passport, your ID card, these are fixed. Yeah, your date of birth, your, well, not so much gender, but these are fixed, right? Your family you were born into, it's fixed. And then you can adopt a different family. But who you are changes, whether you like it or not, whether you're conscious of it or not, changes. But then when you begin to choose how you want to change that, oh, this is when you begin to inhabit you fully. And this is what everybody wants, to inhabit themselves fully.
I can see why that works so well, because one of the things I've noticed is that, we're so powerless, aren't we, as human beings? We're powerless to the color of our skin, where we were born, our ethnicity, who our family are, when we die, other people, the weather, the country we live in. We're actually really very, very powerless, aren't we? And one of the things, the only thing actually that we are in control of is our behavior in the now.
Correct.
Which actually fits in very well with what you're saying.
Yes.
So if we recognize that, then we can create new identity, and we can have new identity in the now.
Correct. By generating states of being, you generate elements of your identity, and then you can choose to have those states of being permanently there, available to you, and you learn how to shift. That's marvelous.
Isn't it marvelous? And we all get one chance at life, and we ought to make the most of it, and we ought to live it in the best possible way. There's so many people are living life stuck. They're not moving forward. They're stuck in their old identity, and they're just stuck in their ways. And often they don't see that there is huge opportunity for change.
Yes, but some people want to be stuck. They like being stuck. They don't want any changes. They don't want any change. Like, I don't want to change. So, well, you change every day, whether you like it or not. It's not about big change. It's not about you becoming somebody that you are. Because what you generate states of being, and you make them part of your identity. It's not that you flipped a coin and then all of a sudden you're somebody completely new. That's not how it works. But you begin to architect that you bring elements into who you want to be, and then that changes who you are.
And a lot of people controlled by fear.
Oh yes, yes. But
fear fit in with your?
But people being controlled by fear, especially lately in this day of age that we live, has a lot to do with the environment, has a lot to do with global consciousness and with local your residents. So it has a lot to do with that. So it's understandable. But when people begin to understand that they don't have to be controlled by fear, it shifts a lot. Now, having fear is a natural phenomenon. If somebody never feels fear, that's trouble. But you feel fear when it needs to be fear, not because of stress and overwhelm. Stress is stress, fear is fear, overwhelm is overwhelm. So when we begin to identify these different elements, then there's no fear, it's less fear. And then people get unburdened.
Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great that people are beginning to understand what this is all about, because is this quite unique, this type of therapy that you teach? Is this unique to you, or are there other people doing it?
No, this is unique to me. This is something I went through as part of my personal development. And I've studied a lot of different spiritual methods, spiritual practices, and of course studied a lot of psychology, and that got certified in hypnotherapy. But as I studied different aspects, different modalities, different techniques, I noticed the similarities between them, but also what each technique lacks. And then what do you do when you cannot plug them in together? You have to join them, like link them, like a chain. And if you cannot link them like a chain, that what do you do with them, right? It's just that individual techniques or individual modality, and it's not sufficient. If a therapeutic intervention has not arrived at the self, that therapeutic intervention is not complete. A lot of people don't like me saying this, but you have to arrive at the self, at the core, to where everybody is at their core. And so I went through this, and when I saw the enormous benefits of that, and when I figure out how to create the links and how to take elements, the wonderful elements from each method, each technique, and put them together, keeping the original parts, well, the most beneficial parts of the original techniques, not altering that, but then putting them together into a meta-conscious system, then there's nothing lacking in this, because it involves metacognition, meta-emotion. But then we learn how to feel by choice. When you feel better, then you generate states of being, then you transfer therapeutic consciousness. And in the process, the whole collective unconscious gets uplifted. So you do humanity a favor, not just you and those in front of you.
Amazing. So if people want to learn more about this from you, how can they do that? How can they get in touch with you? How can they learn more about what you do and how it can help them?
Let me share. I'm going to share the screen a little bit. So here is they can get to this website, feelfulness.org. And right here, this is the training page for Feelfulness. So feelfulness.org, Feelfulness. And this page explains what Feelfulness is, how this is identity level, internal architecture, and what some of the words mean. And this, who is this training for? For therapists, mental health, hypnotherapists, individuals, Jungian shadow work, transpersonal, IFS practitioners, somatic and trauma, marriage and family, spiritual counselors, mindfulness, life coaches, growth facilitators, spiritual counselors. So all of this benefit from metaconscious design system training. And the very first reason why that is because to be able to transfer therapeutic consciousness, you have to experience it. And in creating this experience, because all of it is experiential, and as I said, it's wordy at the beginning when I go explain it, but in the process it's very, very pleasant, and we just generate experience and we feel good, right? I take you through the most wonderful journeys to the depth of your soul, and you heal in a process. Everybody needs healing. Therapists, the healer,
therapists.
Healer. Yes. So when you go through this wonderful, most wonderful process, and it steps up, it keeps on adding to what was already built. When you have this experience, then you understand how generating states of being happen and how you can begin to transfer intentional uplifting states of being. And after a while, as a therapist, you learn how to transfer therapeutic consciousness. And this is where therapeutic mastery lies. This is pure mastery, not technique, not modality, but pure therapeutic mastery, because you become more wholesome in who you are, not just a therapist, but as a human being, right? As a partner, as a parent, as a teacher, as a whatever, all of the roles that you have, that you inhabit. And when this happens, then you become the medicine the client needs. But you have to have a taste of that medicine in order for you to know how to prescribe the medicine.
Fantastic. So there you go. If anybody wants to learn more, then get in touch with Carmen. She is there to help you, and she can show you so much and give you some life-changing information and some therapy. And as you kindly said, it works for everyone. Doesn't matter what you are, who you are, should I say, or what you do for a living. Even if you're a therapist like we are, she can help you. So do get in touch with her if you need any more help.
Absolutely. Right here you go to this webpage, fearfulness.org/fearfulness, and then you begin your intake application, and then you'll have a phone conversation with me, and we'll take it from there.
Lovely. So thank you so much, Carmen. Thank you for your time today. And I look forward to hearing more about what you do another time. And keep doing the good work. You're doing a fantastic job helping all these people. And thank you. Bye for now.
Thank you, Ivan.